But yeah, let's go through here, and let's assume that. Okay, let's assume that a 2% usage rate is like what you're looking for, and then let's see if that lines up with what Warframes could really use some help. So Ash, we've got maybe he's at like a 1.5% rating here, and like he's got some usage down here. It's really hard to get regular Ash, so this is actually a little surprising. But some of this might have been, yeah. But you have like Ash, like in these ranks, whenever you've got more choice, like a 1%. I still really wish that Ash would get like his 4 and his 3 buffed. Is it like needs animation sped up usage? I mean, for me personally, the changes that I would make to Ash are his 3 doesn't need a target in order for you to teleport, which would make him super fast. Would be really nice to have. That's a nice alternative to Wukong type ability there. And then for his 4, for you to not have to execute it. Like whenever you look at an enemy, the clones just start going. Like that's the thing I would like. Like if they did those 2 changes to Ash, I think that it would really easily push him into like that 2%, 3% type range. So like, yeah, this is about what I'd expect. Because Ash right now, like obviously you guys have seen like the builds refresh for this video. Ash could do quite a bit still. His 4 should do more damage per enemy hit. No, his 4. I'm gonna go watch the Ash video. His 4's damage is A-okay. Wouldn't his 4 be Old World on Fire then? No, it'd actually be like a slower Mesa 4. Because he still has to look at the enemy in order to mark them. It's just that his clones would be going while he's still marking. Yeah, so it would more so just be like, it would be less clunky and just like more like good flow, and like you'd be able to be like, look at all these guys, turn the other direction, start doing some kills, like doing stuff like that. When you look at the enemy and just from the hidden village of the void pop out, pretty much. I mean, that's what they do now, right? Lower kill per second, but more freedom of movement version of Mesa's regulators. Right, exactly. Which I think is totally fine. Or of a set it and forget it while you shoot. Right, exactly. So you can get more interactivity in there. Want to further increase Ash's 4 damage, you could hit it with Savage Silence. Right, no, that's of course what you do whenever you build around it. That's what the Ash builds video is. Then Atlas. I mean, these numbers speak for themselves, right? He's terrible. Like, his design is bad. Like, Yep, he hits 1. He's a good meme right in here. And then, you know, Atlas needs like a lot of love. Like he needs more than a little bit is what needs to happen. And then the Banshee stuff. So these Banshee numbers actually make an incredibly huge amount of sense. Like these make total sense to me. What could Atlas get for a buff though? See, that's the thing, is that Atlas needs more of like a rework than a buff. And like I've said like a million times, like make it so his tectonics, you put his tectonics down, then you use his 1 on it, turns into like a large AoE shotgun, so you can hit enemies like all in front of you all at once. Using your 1 on his 4 in order to wear them like armor to have much more survivability. Holding your 1 in order to continually punch as you aim at enemies so that it's not as much of a gigantic pain in the ass to do. Tons and tons of things. Like there's so much you could do with Atlas. But like, you know, it's more of like a deeper rework than just like making the numbers good. Only issue with the changes to Ash's 4 he suggested is that maybe it might be a bit overtuned, so I would attach a duration where you can mark, and maybe it's like a few second cooldown if duration is over. What would be overtuned about it? It would be a slower Mesa 4. It would also be like a slower Baruch 4. And it wouldn't really change it. You just would not have to do the like awkward execute point. Yeah, I don't think that would be overtuned at all. It'd be good, which is what you want. You want it to be good. I think it would also be nice if they rolled the armor strip into Ash's 1, honestly. They probably won't do that, though. But yeah, these Banshee numbers make a huge amount of sense to me, because As far as I'm concerned for Banshee, minus Gloom, Banshee is a chore to play. Like a chore. Like this is like Mastery 6, 7, 8. Like these people are leveling this. And then like you have people at MR31 that are like diehard Banshee fans that are using her with like whatever helmet they prefer, whether that's, you know, like Harrow's one or Gloom or Resonator or like whatever defensive thing that Banshee needs awfully bad in order to be usable. But like Banshee has her niche. It's just unfortunate that like, you know, her 4 doesn't really work. Her 1's not good. You know, she's basically a 2 and 3 machine, and then whatever helmet you put on her. Yeah, and she's a big like kill the sisters, kill the liches like collector. Baruch numbers. So I pretty strongly feel like the Baruch numbers are actually this low because no one wants to do Fortuna. Like, I think when we get Baruch Prime, people are going to use a lot of Baruch Prime. Like, I really do feel that way, but I think no one wants to do Fortuna. Because, like, I feel like you when you get up here, whenever people are finally... this feels like the area where people are, like, finally bothering to do Fortuna, right? And then they use Baruch, and they're like, oh, well, I like Baruch. And you get this, like, 1% type of play rate, right? Because, like, I'm sure we all know we all know players that are like up here in like this like MR 26 25 type area, and they still have not fucked with Fortuna because fuck it. Like I'm a person that wouldn't even suggest people do Fortuna anymore in terms of your like general grind through the game. Like I did Fortuna to get an amp on the free to play through, this last free to play through, and because of the new stuff with the new war, I would not even suggest that you do that. Interested in playing Baruch, but I also know he's probably got his prime coming end of this year, so why bother farming him now? That's, yeah, for sure. If Fortuna wasn't worth it, yep. And then Caliban, like we said, these numbers kind of mean nothing. Like they're kind of just meaningless, right? And then Chroma, I mean Chroma, like, you know, yeah, I mean Chroma still just definitely needs help. He's a number boy that's used for some things, like still seeing some use in Eidolons, although he's very much not needed for that anymore. And like also like people using him on Profit Taker, sure, but like overall I feel like this usage is so much higher than it should be for like what Chroma is. Like this usage is like getting almost up to 2%, which feels so fucking high. Like he's definitely like a credit farming Warframe, but like damn, this feels high. How does the pistol amp from the new war compare to Fortuna amps? It compares as it's good enough. Let's shame how cool lore-wise Fortuna is while being saddled with the absolute worst mechanics in terms of progression. Yep. Weapon mod with legs. Yeah, I think Chroma's usage is that high because of old habits. Like me, I use Chroma for everything simply because I used him for so long. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, and some people just like him being the Dragon Man. Yeah, some people just like being the dragon, and then, you know, that's got its niche. Like whenever they release this werewolf frame, it won't matter if it's bad or good. Like people, like the furries are going to use the werewolf frame whenever it comes out. Like that's just going to happen. And then we have Ember. Ember feels kind of low. You know what I mean? And I think some of this is just that like you can't use her in ESO. Feels like something that's contributing to this because she is a 4 spam like leveler. But like also mechanically she's like, you know, kind of counterintuitive. Like you got to turn that meter on and off, and like I feel like a lot of people will use Ember and like not really want to manage that meter the way that you need to. Yeah, Ember's pretty busy for sure. I for sure agree with that. And like I like playing as Ember because I think it's fun, and like she's certainly effective enough even at like the Steel Path type levels. But yeah, I could see why she's at like these types of play rates. Werewolf Frame? Yeah, whenever they put the survey out, they're like, isn't it time for a Werewolf Frame 10-0? And everyone was like, yeah, I guess so. Meter feels more like a downside than anything. Yeah, I agree. It feels like you don't want to build up to something, right? Every time you talk about Ember turning the meter on off, I'm just like, but why not just press 3? Well, if you don't need to get rid of armor from enemies around you, there's no reason to press 3. I said no to that question on the survey. Very nice. But yeah, and then like Equinox, this tracks. I feel like this Equinox stuff is also old habits because Equinox doesn't scale nearly as well as she used to, especially in a big part. I feel like Equinox is like hurting in some ways because corrosive projection doesn't just remove all armor from the game anymore. Like you're not just playing in a full party of 4 and there's no armor that exists because she is greatly downsided by there being the presence of any armor whatsoever. Survey link? It's in the Discord somewhere. I don't know if it's like done now. But yeah, people are still using Equinox. Equinox is like fine still. And I don't think that's like too crazy. The Equinox is like fine. Or needs to love, ain't that the truth? So these Excalibur numbers are pretty interesting. So obviously he's the most picked starter. Huge amount of people using Excalibur. And then Excalibur Prime has the highest usage at MR31, I guess, as you'd imagine, right? And then Excalibur Umbra, we get to see when people get Umbra, which I think is really useful information. Because we see that like some people are getting him like as early as like MR5, and then you get like most people at like, or not most people, but like most people at 8, but some people at like 6 and stuff. So it's really interesting to see where people are in terms of like kind of when they're getting access to Umbra. But you can definitely see like the fall off of like people like still using him, because like these numbers turn like almost white, but it's because the numbers are so high like when people get Umbra, because everyone's using him. How the fuck do you get Umbra on MR1? I don't know. This is probably the people that are staying at Master Rank 0 on purpose. That's probably what this is. Some people do that. That's a thing. It is a thing. But yeah, you can see like up here, like these numbers turn white and like they don't look like as impressive as like you'd think. But like these are like actually, I think, very healthy numbers overall. Right? Because like you get them, everybody uses them. Obviously, it's part of the big quest. And then like that peters off into like, you know, the 1.7, like 1.17 at like the very end range. But like this is all like, I think, very like healthy usage for Umbra overall. Just because he gets so much usage early that people do get kind of burnt out on that over time, right? Quest requirements don't block that. It depends on how old your account is. But yeah, and then we have man, how? I can't even imagine, like, for what? Like this is just got to be nostalgia, right? Because you can see like a bunch of people get him at like a MR6 or so when they're cleaning this up and just trying to get mastery, and then the immediate fall off. Like, how can these numbers be even at 1%? Ugh. But yeah, I don't get it. As a Vein Frost, I'm sorry. You're fine, but I don't get it. Again, the play rates do not reflect the time spent leveling a Warframe. Right. Yeah, he's so bad, and I don't understand. People like Ice, and they don't care if they're getting carried, I guess. You can see, like, man, it really does seem like MR6 is kind of the area where people start just, like, picking up frames they don't have. And just start leveling them. Like, regular Gara and, like, Frost have, like, a really similar looking chart here in terms of just color. Like, people just go get Gara, level it, and then just do whatever they want. Yeah, the Gara Prime numbers being lower. I mean, maybe it's that if you know that Gara Prime is better than Frost Prime, you also know you should just play Nezha. Maybe that's it. Frost can map clear on Hydron, that's why. So can Gara. Oh, man. I think she needs a bit to get going. It might be that people just don't know how to use Gara. Because in fairness, Gara is a confusing Warframe to like understand what her kit wants you to do, and it's not explained at all. Yeah, then you have Garuda, and like honestly, the Garuda numbers are what you'd expect because Garuda is both not good and also behind Fortuna. So like this is not surprising to me at all. The Gauss numbers. Now, the Gauss numbers are a different thing. The Gauss numbers, I think, are super healthy in the range where, like, you see people have more choices, right? Like, these are super healthy numbers. Gauss is a fantastic Warframe. And down here, though, these numbers are people going, yo, Gauss looks dope as hell, and buying him. Like, these numbers down here are purchases, right? Like, if you're maybe not MR6, but like if you're like MR5 and below, I feel like these are money numbers of people going, yeah, I gotta do that Gauss shit. I was so pumped when I got Gauss. Yeah, Gauss is great. Gauss is both a very good Warframe, and he's a great Warframe, like, just to play. Like, super fun. Great time. Did they give away Gauss at 1.2? Also, yeah, I mean, this tells a whole story, right? The Gauss numbers tell a whole story. No one fucking care. I guess I'll farm it. If I do, I don't want to. I mean, if I have to, okay, fine, I did it. Fuck that Warframe, though. Like, that's the story of Grendel. Like, do I think Grendel is a better Inaros? Yes. Is Grendel colossally more of a pain in the fucking ass to get? Uh-huh. Is Grendel also, like, devoid of internal synergies to make his playstyle unique in what he actually wants to do? Uh-huh. Yeah, the Grendel farm is dog shit. And then we have Harrow. Harrow, I also think, like, it's twofold, right? It's why would I play Harrow when Wisp exists? Like, that's number one. And also, like, getting regular Harrow up until very recently was a colossal pain in the ass. And even still, it's, like, not, like, easy to get Harrow, right? And then for Harrow Prime, obviously, like, Harrow Prime very new, so these numbers don't really mean a whole lot in the, like, grand scheme. Like, Harrow Prime, very, very recent, so I'm not going to put much weight in the Harrow Prime numbers. And then Hildren has higher numbers than I expected. Like, honestly. But, like, there's not... Like, I mean... There's not as much of a restriction because she's from Fortuna. But yeah, there's definitely way higher Hildren numbers than I anticipated that there would be. I mean, yeah, Hijack is a mission, sure. How much are you doing Hijack? It has literally no rewards. Hildren is the new Inaros in a lot of ways. Sure, like I could see that in some ways, but yeah, I don't know. It feels like it's very weird. I do Hijack when it's a sortie. Yeah. Even then, it's like just slap redirection on like Wukong and you'll be more than fine, right? Maybe that's just because I have pillage on my Wukong. I mean, realistically, if we're being like super fair, Hildren does have that AFK build where like the enemies around you just die. Like we were messing around with that, and that was kind of a thing. And we'll of course see that pretty soon here whenever I do the builds refreshes and stuff. And like otherwise, she just sits around and has big shield. Is she literally unkillable with recharge mods on Dragon Key? Oh, she's killable still. Why do people play Hydroid? No one plays Hydroid actually. From you as you can see here, people don't play Hydroid. Like you can pretty clearly see that people get him to level him, and then they don't use him. And then here, they get him as a free gift, which is bumping all of these numbers up. So they use him a little, and then they don't use him. And then for whatever reason at MR31, that's a 1.4, which is strange. But yeah, having like the vast majority of this being sub 1% on a frame that doubles your loot is like dire as fuck. Yeah, Hydroid legitimately terrible. Like absolute complete garbage. Like he is just completely useless. Like he's as bad as Frost, honestly. Like as bad, if not worse. Like Frost is worse than him purely because one of Frost's ability doesn't say you get double loot. Like if Frost had a 4 augment that said double loot drops when you kill frozen enemies, he would be better than Hydroid. Like completely unironically. Yeah, so that's really rough. And then Inaros, regular Inaros. I want to see the difference in the numbers for Inaros from last year to this year. Because on Inaros Prime, you can see that people like to stand there and not die. And that's especially prevalent as, like, the people up here, like MR, God, straight up fucking 25 all the way up to 31. 25 to 31, having that above 3% play rate, people just being stuck in their ways of Inaros being the fucking meta for so long. Like, people still just use Inaros as a comfort frame, I feel like. Because you just walk into any mission and you go, I can't die, you can't stop me, I don't have to think about nullifiers, etc., etc., etc. It's the updated chart of the old one. This is the updated one. We're going to look at the old one real quick, though, because this is, what, 4.8 maxing out? So look at Inaros here. But yeah, oof. Yeah, really big dip in terms of like overall usage for Inaros. Because like you can see, and obviously like we got Inaros Prime, but like the usage was a lot higher last year. So people are falling out of it a little bit, but like it's pretty clear that like some of that is very much still there in terms of just being like stuck in that and just still doing that. Yeah, so like much lower, but still very high numbers. Yeah, 7% on last year. Really, really high. I should call this stream Frost Haters. Okay. Frost sucks. It's a known fact. If you aren't encountering resistance, you'll probably never consider an alternative. Yeah, absolutely true. Did Grendel augment proc rage on the health drain? No. Then Ivara usage, I would say, what, did they give out Ivara for free at one point? They must have. Or people buy Ivara because she looks cool. Also possible. I think they gave her out at one point though. But yeah, Ivara Prime, really healthy, comfy usage of Ivara. I think it's maybe a little high on the top end here for like how good I think Ivara is overall, but it makes sense. People like Ivara a lot. On PS4, she came in a Renown bundle. Okay, interesting. Yeah, and then we have Cora. Cora numbers actually a bit higher than I thought that they would be, but she is like, you know, she's what replaced Hydroid, and she's a very good Warframe in terms of just being able to do everything herself and get double loot. So I think it makes a lot of sense that like the Cora numbers would be this high. Like she's just a really solid DPS frame where she says you get double loot. Like, what are you gonna do?
Hey Zyme, could you define the current meta and how a low tier frame compares to it versus a high tier frame?
A low tier frame compares to it versus high. What do you mean by that? People love stuff we like to pretend weird and just remember. Yeah, Staple, thank you for 100 bits though. Compared usage on PC versus consoles on any of these? I haven't yet. But I'm just looking at overall usage because everything combined is, you know, do that first. Yeah, then you have Lavos. Lavos is new and like still not commanding like a super high usage percentage. I feel like up here like this is high. Like considering like the strength of Lavos is that he's not very strong. Why Frost bad? Why Monkey good? Frost has really clunky, not great survivability and no ability to effectively DPS. And also he doesn't have the tools to be lazy or fast. Oh, yeah, a lot of the Lavos numbers could be from Railjack. You're absolutely right, because he is a fantastic Railjack pilot. That's true. What are the common traits good frames have versus bad frames? Well, a lot of the common things that, like, okay, commonly you'll see between a lot of, like, the high-usage Warframes is either completely thoughtless survivability or incredible DPS. Is he, though? Yeah, Lavos is a fantastic Railjack pilot. Also, yeah, Hildren is too. I wonder if that's helping both of their numbers. Good Railjack pilot? Yeah, Lavos makes the Railjack work off cooldowns instead of energy, and then Hildren uses her shields to power the Railjack instead of energy. So both of those are actually, like, pretty good reasons for their usage to be a little higher than expected, actually. That actually makes tons of sense, especially because you'll have people that are, like, constantly farming Railjack to get, like, endo and credits and stuff. So yeah, these numbers actually make a lot more sense for that. Yeah, Protea is a very good Railjack pilot. That's true. But Protea is a very good Railjack pilot with a subsume, so that's going to change things up a bit. First time fast damage want to be like the rest of the 12-year-olds? Okay, I'm just going to ban you, and you can go, like, annoy someone else. Like, if you don't like the meta, that's fine, but, like, don't be a fucking moron. The meta is what it is. Idiot. Literally has 12 in his name. At this point, Railjack abilities just have their own cooldowns. I mean, I think it's, like, you know, it's fine that they use energy. They're just a little expensive for a lot of Warframes. And then Limbo. Limbo is just purely Johnny numbers, honestly. Like, that's, like, exactly what this is. Like, this is just, like, you get him and then level him, right? Like, regular Limbo is just that. Like, we can kind of ignore this. But the actual usage of Limbo, like, this feels like very much just Johnny numbers. Like, people like Limbo because they want to feel like they're doing something different and special, and, like, that's fine. Limbo is, like, a serviceable enough Warframe. He's not very efficient, but he will make you feel like you're doing something different and cool. Why are the Loki numbers so high? People really like Loki. Like, I really need to be super honest here. Like, the Loki Master Race memes are still in effect. Like, Loki Prime has ceased being good. Like, if you want to talk about people who are stuck in their ways, here it is. Like, this is that. Like, this is stuck in their ways from, like, the past 5 years. Warframe is a stealth game, remember? Oh, yeah, totally. Oh, man. But yeah, Limbo makes sense for where he is. I mean, the Loki numbers are what they are. It's just, it's unfortunate that Loki's not going to get to be, like, a mechanically unique Warframe with interesting abilities, because statistically, you look at it and go, people already play Loki, why would we spend dev time on that? And honestly, they'd be right to say that. What changed with Loki to make him bad now? It's nothing that changed on Loki. The game changed around Loki. Hey, he's better than Frost. That's fair. Mag at 11%. She's a starter. This all makes perfect. This makes incredible sense. But yeah, the reason Loki's not good anymore is because the game has left Loki behind. Like, it's about super high DPS and, like, clearing large amounts of enemies and, like, just dumping on enemies, and, like, not being able to be seen is fine. It's fine. Who's the highest starter? Excalibur is the most popular starter. But yeah, it's, like, totally fine. But it's not efficient in any way. Like, anywhere you would play Loki, you'd rather be Nezha or Wukong or, like, any number of other Warframes. Because, like, Loki also isn't fast anymore. Like, whenever you compare him to, like, the truly fast Warframes like Titania and Wukong, it's just like, what are you doing? And it's not like Goss is really going to die either in any real case. So, like, being invisible is not, it's just not as much of a benefit as it used to be. Want to go to the universe where Warframe is the game Loki was made for? I mean, Loki used to be an S rank. nothing got nerfed about Loki, and he used to be an S rank Warframe. Like, nothing has changed about Loki in ages. But the game, like, the way it's designed, just like completely left him behind. Yeah, Mag. It is a bit interesting to see like Mag at such low percentage rates in like the early game here. And I say low, obviously this is like 12%, but this is a starter. Like, this is who people are choosing as their starter Warframe. So it's actually really surprising to see this be so low. Because like if you compare all the starters, I'm pretty sure Mag is the lowest one. So let's look at Volt real quick. Yeah, Volt's at like 1625s. So Mag is like by far the least picked starter, which is a bit surprising because I actually think that her and Excal are like the best starters and that Volt is not a very good starter. So it's a bit interesting here. But it's probably mostly because like Warframe is primarily a male audience. So people are usually going to pick like, you know, sword guy or electricity guy. Mag sucks meme. Also, yeah, the Mag sucks meme, which is like become less true over time, but is still around. But yeah, and then in terms of like Mag Prime's like usage numbers, this makes sense. She's not a very comfy Warframe. Like just in general, like these numbers make sense because she's not comfy. Counterpoint Wisp. I think no, that's not a counterpoint. That actually just helps prove my point, actually. Is there a way to know which Warframe you started with? Usually memory. I don't think there's another way, actually. You just have to remember. Yeah, if you forgot that, I don't think there's a way to help you, actually. Maybe your usage statistics? Maybe. 8 years was a long time ago. I guess that's fair. You were a Loki starter. I started on Excal. I did the very basic, but it was a good choice. Motherfucker, do you think I remember anything from 10 years ago? Well, you access the archives, cold brain. But yeah, I think Mag is a clunky Warframe, and it's not to say that she doesn't work, but like whenever you start taking her into like the like higher end content and stuff, it becomes like a super high effort Warframe, and I think that's just not what people are looking for. So yeah, I don't know. I wish Mag would get some, honestly, not even power, but just like raw quality of life. Like just quality of life improvements to the way that she gets played would really help Mag out a lot in the long run. I think if Revenant usage numbers, we'll get there. Literally just let the bubble be the epicenter of pull. Yeah, and then also like making it less clunky with projectiles in the bubble, honestly. Like there's a lot of different things here that could make Mag just like a higher quality of life to play Warframe. Like not changing any of her damage output or anything like that at all, but just making it easier to do and like less of a pain and more reliable would really help Mag. And also buffing her one, this is actually more for like the early game and her pick as a starter. Buffing her one so that it debuffs enemies that they drop energy would also really help a lot. And then Mesa. Yeah, Mesa's really... Did you guys know that Mesa's really good? Like you see this stuff up here of like people like getting Mesa and like leveling Mesa and stuff, right? Like you see these like small numbers. But like these numbers say a lot. Because we're down here at MR5 with 1% on Mesa Prime. Like this right here, the like between 6 and 12 feels like they get Mesa, and instead of continuing to play regular Mesa, they get Mesa Prime. You know what I mean? Like it feels like these usages are, oh yeah, we're gonna do this. like 1 second, let me go all in on that shit. Yeah, wow. Is anyone shocked? Mesa's an amazing Warframe. Absolutely fantastic Warframe. Only incredibly improved by the Hellman system. Like, yeah. Yeah, also Mesa Prime, not very difficult to acquire. Absolutely phenomenal Warframe. Good for like pretty much all content. There's very few things she can't do that are usually revolved around her for not working on it. But yeah, absolutely incredible Warframe. So not surprising to see her numbers be very high. Also incredibly easy to use, which helps a lot, of course. 5% of regular Mesa is where Mesa Prime numbers start to get pumped. Right, exactly. Remember that Mesa got buffed this year too? What buffed Mesa this year? Oh, right. The galvanized mods. This Mesa stuff is all on you. It wasn't me. I didn't do it. It's not my fault. We consider Mesa an S rank? I don't think so. I don't think that her usage is so out of control. Like we've got some other like similar usages, and I don't think it's out of control. Hate the way you use S rank, not gonna lie. That's fine. S rank usually means that there's a problem that needs to be fixed, and I don't think that Mesa needs to be fixed. Mesa's useful but not meta defining. I think it's more so that Mesa is good in our current meta, less that she has defined the meta. You know what I mean? Monkey Man is S though, right? Yeah. Monkey is symptomatic of like why Monkey is S rank is symptomatic of some of the greater problems in Warframe. I disagree with defining S rank that way, but it's a personal thing. Well, like okay, so here's like the big thing with like the way I use S rank. S rank means that there's a problem. And I don't like what about Mesa is a problem? Like we use Mesa because like the main objective of a lot of what we need to do in Warframe is murder. But like she's not a lazy playstyle. And like she's a pretty active playstyle that like needs a helmet to improve her to be really good at Steel Path. And like I don't think that there's anything about like what Mesa's doing that's like unhealthy. Personally, no divine S rank is meaning there's a problem. I think whenever you're above 100%, that should be an issue. Mesa totally and utterly trivializes almost all content in the game. Aimbot a 90% DR. But it's not aimbot. Is it any more aimbot than using the Tsar? Like all of the good weapons in the game are like the same amount of aiming as Mesa. And if your definition of active is like more intense than that, that's not what Warframe players do. like straight up, like the meta of the game is that we don't aim. Like we're not going for headshots. That's not the game that DE has made. This horror is not even aim. It's open minimap and fire at the red dots. Correct. Remember when Mesa actually didn't need to aim? Yeah, that was definitely... That was an unhealthy version of Mesa for sure. They definitely needed to remove the way that it was, even though it looked really cool. Why is AoE so popular? Because they're asking us to kill a shit trillion enemies, and we need to hit all of them and kill all of them. It's too slow to shoot everyone one by one. AoE's popular because Warframe's not Dark Souls. Yeah, it's more Dynasty Warriors than Dark Souls. The meta for most relevant content is simply AoE plus knockdown resistance. Yep. That's kind of the problem. I don't know if I would consider that to be the problem, right? Because, like, if you don't like that, that's fine. But, like, I think it's more problematic that Wukong is popular because he does the content no one wants to do fast and easy. Like, that's more problematic than using Mesa, who just fits in well with what the game is asking us to do. Think that easier access to punch through would help against the AoE meta? No. Because, okay, here, I'm going to tell you, I like this mechanic. I like punch through. But here's what you have to do in terms of, like, if you add punch through to all the single target weapons, what you're asking that player to do is to line enemies up and then shoot. And that is one more step than shoot. So if the damage is not astronomically higher as to be able to take those enemies down in like one bullet versus firing like 2 AoE shots down a hallway, then what the fuck are you doing? Yeah, and that's just the Archiplasmor. Yep, you take the Archiplasmor, which is not an AoE gun, but it's a wide projectile that goes through enemies and it just vaporizes everyone in a hallway, and you're like, that's not technically AoE. Or stuff like the Proboscis Ceranos, which is, I mean, that's just an explosive weapon. Nadaruk is AoE. You fire a tree down a hallway. Yeah, the Nadaruk is fantastic, but like the Nadaruk is like a remix on the Plasmor, right? The Archiplasmor. Could just buff gas and electric, so single target guns can proc huge AoE damage on headshots. Yes. So that gray is more along the lines of what they need to do in order to fix the problem with no one uses single target stuff, is you need to have statuses that are built for single target. Ace is good if you want to play the game. Wukong's good if you don't. Guess which one is healthy for the game? Right. Exactly the difference. Exactly the difference. Ramping up the base damage of single target guns help? Maybe? Warframe needs less and stronger enemies with different mechanics. I don't see, now that's the thing there, is less and stronger? No. Disagree. Warframe needs to add a few strong enemies that make us interact with our brains. Because here's the thing, no one likes the Juggernaut, right? And the reason no one likes the Juggernaut is because you can't kill it. Like right now, you need to wait. No one likes waiting. No one in Warframe likes waiting. That's not a thing that we've been trained to like, is just fucking waiting for it to open and kill it. That sucks. But think about the mechanical depth of a Juggernaut, but adding the very, very simple mechanic of the Juggernaut is sealed up. You need to slide into it to flip it over and then shoot it in the belly in order to kill it. That's it. Just that mechanic for a Juggernaut. Only that. And that enemy is 300 times more interesting. Yep, flip the turtle on its back. Like a very simple mechanic, very fast to do, can flow well in gameplay. But like you need simple stuff like that where it's like, okay, I have to actually think about this.
Who says I can't kill him right now? Who the fuck? I'll kill them.
With 100 bits. That's some Vanquish mechanics? Right, exactly. Isn't that basically a Nox? Yeah, a Nox is another good type of enemy that they've added to the game. And like Nox, you can just like, you know, push through and shoot him in the chest, but you really are incentivized to shoot him in the head to get rid of him right now. And like the Nox is an example of a really well-designed enemy because of that. Yeah, more enemies like Kuva Guardians, or Kuva Guardians, pretty easy to take down. You got to jump out, hit them with the operator power to blow their staff away, and then you can shoot them proper. Those are also a really good enemy. Like more enemies like that, where you see them and go, oh no, I need to react to this. Because like even in that mission that we just did, like whenever we were doing like the Frost survival stuff for the video, like the The Kuva Guardian showed up, and that was the thing I did that wasn't just fire the Nataruk down a hallway. Kuva Guardians are also a bit gimmicky by being full invulnerability rather than Nox DR. Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, the Xmas rework has the potential to add a lot more of this type of thing, but also just like the clarity improvements that we're slated to get with the Xmas rework could also be very helpful. Those kind of enemies are good as long as they're not spammed looking at you nullifiers. Yeah, I mean, whenever you overlay too many nullifiers on top of each other, it just gets really annoying. That's definitely true. But I think nullifiers as they stand currently are good. But yeah, regardless, but yeah, Mirage usage is much higher than I expected, but people really like number go up. Like, people really like number go up. Like, very badly. People love number go up. Like, shoot more bullet, make bullet do more damage, bullet, bullet, bullet. Like, that's like what's going on here with Mirage Prime as far as I can tell. And also, yeah, she sees playing ESO, which helps too. But like, people making number go up, I feel like is really a lot of this. And like, honestly, as much as I wish that Mirage would get like a pass on like being like, you know, more of a full design of a frame, these are healthy numbers, so like, you know, it shows why we are not getting that. Mirage still needs to choose what buff you use with her 3. Well, so I think you need to not... So, okay, the thing that I've said with Mirage for a long time is that she needs, like, an ability that can switch her between, like, dark and light, or, like, make an area dark or light, and then her ability needs to snapshot in that, where, like, you make light happen, and then you snapshot that with your 3 ability. Like, if you throw your 4, the area around it is light, and therefore you can always get the light buff. Or if you use your 2, then the area around you is dark, and you can always get the dark buff. Like, doing that to make it so that Mirage is, like, more cohesive, and you getting, like, choices, and, like, you know, having to, like, you know, think when you want certain buffs, and also being able to get the buff you want when you want it. Doing stuff like that, I think, would be... It would be a lot better of, like, a playstyle for Mirage to be able to choose that stuff, as opposed to relying on, like, the light maps of the game, which is really gimmicky and kind of but yeah. Should this be an Xless augment to just make both activate? No. Holy shit, no. Her numbers are way too high for that. No. I mean, you think Chroma sucks now. Holy shit. Chroma does not exist if you add that. Yeah, even to press and hold to swap. Absolutely. But yeah, I really wish that Mirage had some of those, like, quality of life features that made her feel like you're choosing a lot more. But like, clearly people, like, you know, people like Mirage and play her. These are like really healthy numbers overall, so it's, you know, it's hard to be like DE rework Mirage whenever she's at like these like 2.5 percentiles, which are like pretty healthy. You know what I mean? And then Necros, obviously Loot Daddy is doing Loot Daddy things. People like Loot Daddy, people like Loot Daddy, loot. Bone Daddy gets the loot stuffs. Is anyone surprised? I don't think we are. Like, if Necros is doing the thing that Necros does. Unless he suddenly stops doing that, he will not be unseated, even if his, like, overall kit is, like, horrifically bad. And, like, the addition of Gloom and stuff to also be able just to throw on him, it's like, you know, yeah, wow. Necros, you mean Desecrate? Yeah, he's a one ability wonder, but that one ability is really good. So, not surprising at all. Necros is used to actually get some fucking life support in missions. Yeah, true. But yeah, I mean, no one is surprised. Imagine how much it would break other frames via helmet if Mirage augments did both. Oh man, that'd be nuts. It'd be absolutely insane. And then Neja usage, I would say, so these are healthy numbers for usage on Neja. I personally think Neja is right behind Wukong in terms of just being the most outrageously easy to use Warframe in the game, and also being super fast. I think the reason that these numbers are at a healthy level is because people don't like slipping around. Like, straight up, there's a bunch of people that don't like slipping sliding around. They just don't like it. Like, that is the number one thing I hear every time I talk about Neja is I don't like sliding. But it's so fun. I really like it. It makes you go really fast. I like it. It's very clean playstyle for me. Some people just don't like sliding. That's the fun. I like it. People who enjoy sliding, and there are people who are wrong. That had a funny sound with the slipper disc. Would people like it more? Probably not. I like sliding. I don't like the weird momentum thing where you can't stop. See, for me, that's just about sliding. I'm slipping around. It's a really bad time with random pulls. That gives me many options to be precise in any movement. I did originally not appreciate being on an ice rink. Yeah, I mean, that's fair. Like, some people like Neja, some people don't. And I think because of the hard divide of people not liking slipping around, that these numbers are actually right. You know what I mean? And obviously they're right because they're just data from DE. But I mean, they're right in terms of yeah, this makes sense. Like him being up here, like at almost hitting like 3% in some places, I would say is like really good.
You got to say the thing that Neja is that I'm not allowed to say. Make him extra slippery. You got literally my favorite time in the world.
Yeah. Also adjusting for 100 bits. But yeah, like these numbers, you know, these are really good numbers considering that there's like a hard divide in terms of people liking Neja or not based entirely on his passive. And like, I'm personally a huge fan of Neja. Have used Neja a lot. I think I would think if you could easily toggle the sliding off, I think these numbers would go up. I think you'd probably see these numbers be like probably a little under the Mesa numbers, actually. Like having him be like 3.5 instead of some of these like 2.5s and stuff. For 48 frames being around 2% is about right. Yeah. And then Nidus. Nidus and Nidus Prime. Nidus numbers, I mean, people fucking like Nidus. Are you surprised? You shouldn't be. People like using Nidus. Like these numbers up here, like they're real light, but like, dude, this is 1%. Like this is MR30 people using regular Nidus still. And like, obviously the Prime came out and that's going to really shift these numbers down into the Prime zone because that's, of course, what people are going to want to use, especially at these higher ranks. And you can see these numbers also are getting in that like 1%. Like whenever you start combining these numbers up and down, you're seeing people that are like MR30 at like almost 2% utilizing Nidus. Like, he's a Warframe that has an established playstyle that is his own. He likes to be alone. He doesn't like to play with others. He's not friends with nobody but his own self. And people are into that. There's a lot of people that like, you know, play solo that get a good time with Nidus, and he's good. He can do stuff by himself. There's pretty much nothing he can't just do as long as he's got some decent guns with him. And like, yeah, like he's got like that slow ramp up and stuff, but he's a well-designed Warframe that people enjoy. And like, what are you going to say, right? People like it. As far as the hotspot is so low for Nidus since his farm is so awful. Well, I think a lot of this like stuff here, like this is like people buying him. Again, like this is some of this I think is like a Gauss effect of like this is MR0 and he's at 0.5%. That's so fucking high for MR0. Like this is people see the cool Bug Lord and they go, I'm gonna play as the fucking Bug Lord. I don't even know what an infested is, but look at that guy. Like Nidus has a big cool factor. Like he was the highest selling Prime Access of all time. Like that says a lot about how much people just like Nidus, right? Oh yeah, he was in one of the starter packs too. That's true. Yeah, so yeah, starter pack, yeah, will definitely play a part here. But like, still though. Counter argument, the Frike skin. That's a dope skin. Also thank for 100 bits. That's the thing, though, is that people like the base Nidus,
okay,
people like the Frike skin, and people like the Prime.
Frike skin.
Like people like all three. Like I don't think that there's a bad design to be had in base Nidus, the Prime, or Frike. I think they're all great. Like obviously I like Frike best, but like they're all good designs. Like none of them are Mag Prime, you know what I mean? Nidus just wants people not to steal his snacks. Yeah, exactly. And then Nova numbers. Nova numbers, these are like, leveling numbers around here and such. And then Nova's like a very skippable Warframe too, so it's not weird to see these like here. And then Nova Prime, just like healthy numbers, but mostly leaning towards like the top end of the MR, like MR 22 plus. There's not so much down in like the 16 area type ranges where you see like a lot of Neja usage and stuff. So mostly seeing like a lot of Nova up here. And like she is like a heavy like defense farm frame, and I think defense farms are less good than they have been in the past overall. But still, like, Nova's seeing good usage, and like she's like a very healthy Warframe for the game that does a lot of different things and just can do a lot of stuff even on her own. So that's good. And then Nyx, I think there was only one Warframe that's played less than Nyx on like the overall, like combined play rate overall. So it's not surprising to see these numbers even with the buff being hilariously low. Nyx is not very good. Like Nyx is usable, and like that's pretty much where Nyx is at.
Nidus is okay sharing his snacks now. You get stacks from anything killed in a larva blob now, remember?
Yeah, that's true. It's just not super efficient with just using larva to gain your stacks. Thank you, 100 bits. I appreciate it. Yeah, Nyx is just like, I mean, there's at least like a gimmick build around like using your 1 plus like the Redeemer to make like whatever you mind control do a lot of damage. But it's just like a scuffed Wukong clone. And then like Psychic Bolts to remove resistances on things is like okay. And like you could walk around in your 4, but it's like, it's not great. It's not very good. Like at least Nyx is like usable. Like it's not like Frost where like I truly despise using Frost, or Hydroid where I truly despise using Hydroid. It's at least like, there's like some stuff here. And it's weird because like, well, it's not that weird. Frost has a higher play rate than her, but I think some of that's just like raw nostalgia. Nyx does okay things that other frames do great, minus the full strip. Yeah. Nyx looks so nice though. That's true. Yeah, I wish Nyx would get like even further buffs, but like, they tried a little bit, maybe over time we'll get there. Get to like that Titania place, right? And then Oberon, these numbers are gonna change. Like really high usage in like these ranges. Over time, these numbers are gonna drop to like basically not exist. And I think they're gonna be pushed towards like the upper ranks because people have to get Oberon out of Railjack now. And I think that's gonna be rarer and rarer as time goes on because he is not a very good drop rate in Railjack. And also, Wisp exists now, so like you're looking at Oberon Prime numbers and you're not surprised at all. Like there was a point where Oberon like saw play, but like not anymore. Like we're not using Oberon now. Like Wisp exists, and Wisp does everything Oberon thought he did well, actually well. It really sucks. Oberon should be a starter frame. Yeah, I think Oberon would go really well as a starter frame, actually. You'd probably have to trim up some of like his energy costs being a little high. But yeah, I think Oberon would actually make a better starter than Volt. Yeah, then we have Octavia. And Octavia Prime. Oh, you know what? These numbers are actually totally like healthy for Octavia, which is weird considering how many people just hate her. These are like actually high. Like whenever you're combining regular Octavia with Prime, these are high numbers. Because like if you're looking at this, like an MR8, that's like almost 4%. Yeah, you do got to fall asleep in those isolation vaults. That's true. I'm curious what the changeover is from last year. Because we've got like Octavia regular being at like a lot of like nearly 1% here. And then Prime being at like sometimes 3%, usually like 2 and a little change. I'm going to go look at that difference real quick. Yeah, you go from like just Octavia, and obviously like the Prime came out, but like that's still a pretty significant increase because like you had, interesting. You basically dropped a percentage off of regular Octavia. and then gained 2 from the Prime happening. This is 3.3 and 2.9 at the end. Yeah, she is really good at Steel Path. That's true. And she's also like dirt cheap to build for Steel Path, so that's also probably helping. Interesting though. Lower usage on the very top end, but a lot more usage in the middle. And like some of that is going to, of course, be due to, you know, these like really high population MRs getting the Prime access. But interesting. It's a drop off overall from last year. Is it? That can't be right. How could that possibly be right? Like a drop off in like the top ranges, but it's a lot more in the middle. Like a lot more. Because she was hitting like about these numbers, and then you add the above, and like this is like almost 3% up here at like these ranks. Like this is definitely higher because you have to combine regular with Prime. Yeah, and the 15 plus, yeah, which I think, yeah, for sure. There's people getting her going, wow, she's so powerful, and slowly realizing how non-dynamic and robotic her gameplay is. Zephyr Prime also fashions pretty well. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, the Prime. I wonder how this will go this year. If we'll see like from that Prime, like these types of numbers carrying forward and people continuing to use Octavia, or if we'll return to kind of last year's numbers before the Prime launched. As an MR26 player, I totally relate to those numbers. I still struggle on Steel Path at Outer. Interesting. Yeah, and then Protea, honestly, Protea, considering her power, is at way lower numbers than, like, I would think she should be at, but I'm so happy to see that no one is fucking using Protea. And, like, part of this is going to be that it's kind of hard to get Protea, but I am so happy no one is using Protea. Thank God. All of you stay away from my favorite Warframe. Please do not use her. Continue to ignore the Protea. Oh yeah, but she's fucking fantastic. What an absolutely incredible Warframe. And like you can, yeah, I mean like the rates get up here into like those 2% and stuff. Yeah, never nerf. The Bubonico of Warframe. Stop using her. I do not perceive Protea. She's so good. People actually struggle with her quest, sadly. Yeah, I mean, I could see it. And then Revenant Numbers. These actually make a lot of sense to me. There's actually a lot of people that like Revenant a lot, and I don't get it. Like, I mean, I know why. And, like, you know, he's like a fine survivability frame that has, like, some percentage damage things. And, like, he's kind of popular in, like, the endurance run players, like, realm. So, like, these types of numbers make sense to me. Like, it's not, like, high usage. It's, like, a little below what you'd probably consider to be healthy. It's fine. Yeah, he's kind of jank, but he can do stuff. Endurance runs that cute. I mean, some people are doing it with Revenant. Some people just like Revenant. And, like, that's fine. Like, these are fine. Are we playing Frost? Oh, I was doing it for a video that I needed. These make sense. And then, bruh, the Rhino numbers. Bruh. Oh, man. Not surprising, but yeah. Dying Light Time? Oh, it is 7, huh? Okay, let me see if that's up. Okay, well, we're gonna go through the rest. There's not that much more of this. We're gonna go through the rest of this first real quick. How fucking tiny low is Frost at? Frost is at way more than you'd expect. Yeah, and then Rhino Prime. Like, we out here loving Rhino. Like, you know, 3, sometimes almost 4%. Rhino's great, and I do think that we're entering an age where, like, Neja is the new Rhino. And, like, that's unfortunate, because I like Rhino. But these are still really healthy numbers for now, and some people are just going to constantly use Rhino no matter what because they like Rhino. People do tell the lobies to farm Rhino, and they're right. They really are. Like, I was trying not to farm Rhino on the free-to-play, and I did farm Rhino anyway. Is there a single content creator that doesn't tell new players to get Rhino ASAP? There are some content creators that believe that Rhino gives players bad habits, like surviving. And then Saren usage, no one is surprised. Is anyone surprised? No one is surprised. Saren is good at everything that involves murder. Do we even need to discuss this? Gloomy Saren is a thing now. Like, is this even, like, is there any, we don't need to say nothing about this, right? Like, she's at almost 5% usage at fucking Legendary 1. Later, Wampa. We'll be switching to Dying Light 2 real soon here. Sevagoth, considering how, like, relatively hard it is to get Sevagoth, and also, like, how new Sevagoth is, I think this is pretty healthy numbers. How does Rhino give bad habits? Oh, it's a shit argument that people make. They think that, like, putting Rhino skin on and not dying is a bad habit. But yeah, like, the Sevagoth numbers, I think this is pretty healthy. I think this will go up, and I think it'll go way up when Sevagoth gets his prime in ages from now. But yeah, Sevagoth is just a really well-designed Warframe, and, like, he also looks great. Yeah, and then Titania. Regular Titania numbers very low, as you'd expect. But Titania Prime numbers, very nice. Very nice Titania Prime numbers. And, like, we get this big jump at fucking Legendary 1, which is all me, baby. All me speedrunning. Just me doing, like, a fucking bajillion capture missions just to go fast. Like, if this is truly based on amount of missions run, a coordinated squad of Titanias, like, if you could get 50 people together to Titania speedrun capture missions for, like, a couple weeks, you could probably actually legitimately influence this MR31 usage rate super heavily. Like, if this is based on missions run instead of, like, raw time. But we don't know exactly what this is based on. We don't know if they're by mission or time. But if they're by mission, you could really heavily influence this particular number. Actually, I think it says at the top. Doesn't it say at the top what it's based on? It is presented to track the equip time for Warframes and weapons that were rank 30 or higher. This limits time spent leveling up items for the first time. So it's the total time. Okay, so it's not missions ran, so you wouldn't be able to do it, but that would be really funny if you could. Even still, though, I think these are overall, like, for Titania being a Warframe who is, like, that weird, these are really healthy, like, numbers for that Warframe to have. Then we have Trinity. Trinity, like, these numbers are going down as they should be because Wisp exists, but they still feel kind of high. Underestimate how many people use Titania for Visors? I don't think so. I think this is, like, about right for that. Like, running through Visors with Gauss's ability, just fucking clap, clap, fly, fly. Fucking firefly these enemies. But yeah, Trinity still definitely, like, higher usage than I'd expect. Probably just some people that are just still using Trinity because she's a classic. And then Valkyr. Do you guys know Valkyr's not very good? This chart kind of shows you that. When did they give Valkyr out for free? I don't remember when they gave out Valkyr Prime for free. Yeah, it's not Wisp that is a problem. It's that other Warframes suck. But yeah, like, Valkyr numbers, like, they're where you'd expect them to be. She's not very good. Did they? I don't remember. Yeah, something was given MR0 as Valkyr Prime, though. Resurgence? Maybe? Maybe? She is a furry. Oh, was it Twitch Prime? Oh no. One way or another, something was given MR0 as Valkyr Prime, but regardless, she's not very good. She needs massive amounts of help, and Sevagoth got her rework as his 4, so probably not going to happen. And then Vauban numbers, like you see people getting Vauban around these ranks, and then, you know, yeah, some people use Vauban. He's usable, but not great. And these numbers really reflect that in a lot of ways. So, you know, that also just makes perfect sense. And then Volt numbers, you can see kind of like his kind of choose rate as a starter, which he's the second most picked starter. Unfortunately, I also think he's the worst starter. And then Volt Prime, you get these really high numbers. And like this is like, you know, a combination of a bunch of different things between like people just liking Volt and him using him for ESO and using him for Eidolons. And there's a bunch of different use cases for Volt that I think really bump these up. But yeah, these numbers make sense overall for those types of usage statistics. Yeah, Eidolons and stuff. And like also, if this is like equipped time, you got to think about how long Eidolons take too. But yeah, because you know, Eidolons, captures, etc., etc. He's like decent for doing Visures. He can do ESO with him. I still really wish that his like build wasn't so clunky and they could kind of build for his whole kit at the same time. Oh, whatever. Then we have Wisp. Man, these numbers are high. Damn. Ooh. Damn, these numbers are high. Oh, man. Wow. Being over 5% for more than half of the MRs. Wisp Prime, the only thing that'll bring him down.
Wisp Prime, the only thing that'll bring them down.
Man, that's so high. Is Wisp in your S tier? She might have to be, actually. Yeah, that's as a support, she's pulling that kind of play rate. And also she's really good at Railjack. She's actually another one of the Warframes that's excellent at Railjack. The weird part is that I don't feel like Wisp needs to be nerfed. It's more so that the other goddamn supports need to goddamn get in line. Like they need buffs so bad so that they can even hope to compete with that ass. Yeah, I don't think that Wisp herself is a problem, but it might be that she's S because she represents a problem. Yeah, she's like S minus.
Damn, boy. That a thick ass frame, boy.
Also, Arbiter, just thanks for the 100 bits. Wisp makes me so angry because they refuse to buff any of the other supports.
To support, you monster.
Crazy that instant full heal, DR, and infinite energy is considered low tier, though. Wait, in what? Which character is this? Oh, with Trinity, you mean? Yeah, I mean, whenever you don't have, like, the ease of use and stuff to back it up, yeah, no. That's low tier. For Trinity, yeah. Yeah, also, like, the energy thing really doesn't matter at this point. Like, we're just not in a place where, like, energy support is really a needed thing. Are you going to play Lost Ark? I don't know what that is, but maybe. And then Wukong. Obviously, we've already talked about Wukong, but, like, these numbers are absolutely outrageous. Like, these numbers are... I would be curious
Wisps
if
have the support
there were
problem.
Numbers like this.
That's why the rest are suffering.
Arbiter, think about it. These numbers, I would wonder if numbers have been this high for any frame in the last, like, 6 years. Because in like the really early years of Warframe, I bet Ember and Rhino were at about these types of play rates. But I think since then, I don't know that play rates like this have even been seen. Like it's, what would you do about Wukong? I fucking don't know. Like, I don't know what you can do. They already nerfed him. Your option is to unrework him. But like the problem isn't Wukong. The problem is the game that Wukong is in. There are 18 sections that are over 10%. Yeah, it's like wild. Yeah, like you can't, like, what are you gonna do? Like, do you remove his multiple lives? Like, that doesn't really actually matter very much. Wait, Wukong got nerfed when? Oh, they made his 4 not usable. It just sucks now. It used to be a god weapon. They made it so he's way slower in Cloudwalker than he was whenever his rework originally released. And I think that's everything. So like, what are they gonna do? Make completely gut Cloudwalker? I guess. What would you do? Fix mobile defense? Yeah, a problem like this really requires them to like look at more systemic change over the game to make it so that this is not just the answer. Because I think the reason that Wukong sees so much play is that he's a very generally good Warframe that's fast, and also having Wukong who's able to just do the mission for you means that you can eat and make a sandwich while the mission is happening and like not really pay attention. Like he is like, I'm doing a bounty that just requires me to sit here for 3 minutes, so I'm instead gonna be over here doing something else. Like that's what Wukong does best. Yeah, he's a symptom of a gameplay problem where people don't want to do a bunch of these missions. Pre-rework he was truly invincible, but that was terrible gameplay. Yeah. Nice, Toxic. But yeah, then Zaku numbers. We talked about these a little bit before as well. But like, I think this is indicative of the way that Zaku plays out. Zaku, very hard to get, has a really high requirement build. But once you have them built, it's a very unique and like good play style. Then why do you keep playing? I cannot answer for why people keep playing whenever they don't want to do the some missions. But yeah, no, it's also like the thing of like Wukong's good at every sortie and he can do them really fast and stuff like that as well. And like captures. And like Wukong is the really easy to control, really easy to use version of Titania. Yeah, I fully understand why Wukong is at these play rates, but damn. Zaku looks fun as fuck, but waiting for the Prime to invest in them. Yeah. That makes perfect sense. But yeah, these play rates I think for Zaku are very healthy, especially considering how hard it is to get them. And then Yoreli sucks. So I foresee these types of numbers continuing. Obviously, she's fairly new, but like without significant like rework / buffing, I think that it's unlikely that these numbers are going to change. Like people like getting her is not hard, and I think that's going to be pretty normal to see. You know, people getting them and leveling them, and then not using them anymore. So yeah, Yoreli, I really wish that she was going to be better, but it doesn't look like that's going to be happening. It doesn't look like that augment's really going to help. Maybe some people will like the augment as like a gimmick that's like kind of okay-ish. But yeah. And then Zephyr. The Zephyr numbers, these numbers are criminal. I don't get it. Like we're looking at like maxing out over here. Like this is like getting and leveling, right? But like these numbers, not even hitting 1%. Zephyr is busted as shit right now. Like she's so nuts. Like having used her on like all the way through the free-to-play, basically, like I don't get it. Like some of this might be symptomatic of people not liking the low gravity stuff, because we do hear that all the time as well, similar to the way that like people complain about Neja's slidiness. But like, bruh, Zephyr is so good, and like her gameplay is like actually like involved, but not like, it's not like Octavia involved, right? Like you're not just like hit all the buttons, always be hitting all the buttons. It's like a very like reasonable, like chill play style. It's so good. Like she costs nothing to build. It's so easy to get her Prime. Like I don't know. I don't get it. I really hope that these... I mean, I don't know. I want Zephyr to stay how she is, so maybe these numbers don't need to go up. But, man... Yeah, Zephyr, people are asleep at the wheel in terms of how good she is. Especially considering that, like, more recent buff. But even before that. Awesome for Exploiter Orb.
She's
I believe
slippery.
that. Also, Arbor things 100 bits. Bigger problem is the incremental buffs she's gotten, not enough publicity. I guess it's possible. But yeah, it just feels low. Because, like, you look at, like, these Zephyr numbers, and they're, like, all below 1%. And then you go back, and you're like, hey, wait a minute. Let's compare that to, like, the opposite of this. And it's like, what do you fucking mean by this? Like, you're looking at Frost Prime's numbers, and Frost Prime has better numbers than Zephyr Prime, and what does that mean? Like, man. Like, I cannot imagine a world where people are choosing to play Frost over Zephyr. Never thought of Zephyr as being that good personally. Did some buff happen that broke her on the scale? Her 1 has like a hover mode and stuff. Her 2 is like a is basically like the good part of Vauban's 4 and groups all enemies up really easily. Her 3 is like a fantastic defensive ability, and her tornadoes can be placed in one spot now. And then you can get a huge multiplying damage, like infinity slash procs kill everyone. It's so ridiculous. Yeah, I don't know who is choosing to play Frost Prime. That shit doesn't make any sense to me. He's so bad. Like if you're choosing between Frost and Zephyr, I don't get it. Like, I don't get it at all. Frost is used a lot on the defense map on Sedna. Why? My question is why? Like, are we still doing Hydron? Are people just stuck? Yep. All right. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get it, but it do be the way that it is be do. Here, what if we just take out all of the console players? It's lower. It's more. It's closer to even. Still so high though. They'll come back to the game for like 3 or 4 years and go back to doing what they did back then. I guess so. What if we could use his globe like Xmas enemies? Would that help him? No, probably not. That'd probably just be really annoying for your teammates. That'll do you so because I don't have a pocket Sarah to carry me. Trust better on console? I don't know. I was just trying to see like if there was any like significant. Oh, let's see the Wukong numbers just on PC. Bro. Bruh. That's 22 ranks of him being almost over 10%. Bro, holy shit. I return to monkey. Also, yeah, fucking straight 15.5% at MR13. And we know that like about like the MR 10 to 14 range is the most populated MRs. Monkey. Yeah, holy shit, dude. Yeah, oh, at MR10, you're right. The combined between regular Wukong and Prime is over 17.5%. Bro. MR10 and 11, he's breaking 17% when you add the Prime and non-Prime together. That is way too close to 20%. Oh, yeah, it's also MR9. Holy shit. 9, 10, and 11. And now this is the Bored Ape Yacht Club. Oh, wait, what happened, Freezer? When I work at like 15 minutes, when it's -3 wind chill and snowing. Fucking sucks, Freezer. Good luck, dude. How would you fix that? Do you? I don't know if you do. Like, numbers like this create whenever you're talking about people that were like set in their ways, right? Like, you have like the people that are still using Inaros and stuff, but this creates something wholly different. Is it 9 through 14? No. No, because this is like 16. And this is 17. So MR 13. Oh my god, it's 9 to 13 now. Oh, does it skip 12? Oh yeah, it skips 12. Okay. Bruh. That's still so many. That's so many.
Shut up and take my money.
Also, Zamp, thank you very much for the 24-month resub. Appreciate the 2 years, dude. How do you design your way out of a situation like this? I don't even know. Yeah, oof. Wisp is doing a bit less than I thought, honestly. We got to remember she's a support. And people just naturally don't play support. And even still, even considering that, she is at 5% or more for half of all MRs. Actually, more than half of all MRs. Just got here. What is this chart? These are the usage statistics for 2021 for Warframes. Heat mapped on MR. Wisp is an Omega weapons platform that also happens to be a support. Let's be real. That's true. It will jump up when she gets a prime. Yeah, that's true too. Ooh. Where Goss at? Goss? Oh, you know, this is PC only Goss, so let's look at that actually. Yeah, just healthy numbers for Goss. Just good numbers here. Just good, healthy numbers for Goss. God, the Grendel numbers are really funny though. The Grendel numbers really tell a tale. One of those was read only in MR1. Yeah, that's just regular Ivara. Also, this is MR0. Did we get subsume numbers? We did not get subsume numbers. That'd be interesting though. Also, yeah, this is not time spent leveling. This is time spent after that Warframe has already been ranked up to 30. I can tell I'm going to do the Grendel farm, then never play him again. That's correct.
As a reminder to everyone, this chart refers to the time spent after leveling to 30.
Look at Hydroid Prime's usage on PlayStation. Oh no. Oh, that's just sad. Let's count the Forma past 30 or only once at 30 again? Let's count the Forma past 30 to my knowledge, just not the initial 30. Yeah, they got him at TennoCon, and then they were like, what the fuck, dude? I'm using my starter. Well, let's see the PlayStation numbers for Monkey. Yeah, these numbers are... I wouldn't call these lower. Like, I mean, they're lower in fucking heavy quotation marks. Let's see what's... Okay. Let's see, like, clearly the least popular platform to play this game on. Do they know about Monkey? Okay, the Nintendo players know about Monkey. Holy shit. Somebody told the Nintendo players about the monkey. Ooh. Mm-hmm. Oh, Excal and quit though? Oh, are we really at Excal and quit mode over here? Hold on. Man, Excal has the highest pick rate on fucking Switch. I mean, no, actually, I would say that this like actually shows that people stick around quite a while. Or let's see the Xbox Monkey stats. We already looked at all the others. Wow, these are the lowest. These are the lowest ones. Apparently Xbox does not know about Monkey. I mean, they do know. But compared to PlayStation, it looks like Xbox users use a lot more Wisp and a lot less Wukong. Well, not that much less Wukong, but a little less Wukong. Xbox chooses not to Monkey. Xbox has partially resisted Monkey. Get a Volt on Xbox. Yeah. There's Mag on Xbox. Oh, Mag has a higher pick right there. Holy shit, this is less, but it's red and dark red. Yeah. Well, I mean, keep in mind this is a heat map, so you get like reds, even though this is 0.5% on Ash. Yeah, overall, with all mastery ranks combined, Wukong Prime makes up 10%. And like also like the year-over-year change for that is that Wukong is above 10% now. In 2020, Wukong is at 7.5%. Also, last year, Mesa was more popular on like the overall. Like Mesa was at 5.2. I think that Mesa is below Wisp now. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, Mesa lost like a full 2% of popularity. Yeah, Wukong gained. Wisp is up here. When I tell you that the Xbox player base is in the past, I am understating it as an Xbox player. Fair. Can we take a look at the pistol numbers? Oh, you don't want to do that to the new core. Y'all remember whenever I said that, like, we do not want to press buttons? I really want to, like, really note here. The Ignis Wraith is literally hold down left click dot weapon. And it's 10% usage. And the Kuva Nukor is also that, and it is 22%. almost 23% usage. Weird that the Piranha Prime is in second, though. Ronin Prime at third, that's surprising. Is it? So like what it is with Warframe and the best weapons being the least interactive. Yeah, it's interesting here. Yeah, because you've got big AoE. Well, not that big AoE. I'm actually surprised to see the Exceltra up this high. Big AoE. The Rubico Prime, probably this is mostly like Eidolon hunts and other single target like ventures that you would take the Rubico down. The Shidu is AoE, Ogress is AoE. The Sea-Doo is kind of AoE. It depends on how you define it exactly, because it's got the exploding glaive shit. Proboscis Theranos is AoE. The Fulmin, bruh. If y'all have a go get Zephyr, you sons of bitches. Why does the Fulmin have more play rate than Zephyr? That doesn't make any sense. Zephyr is the best Warframe to hold a Fulmin.
Shut up and take my money.
Leopard, thank you for the resub. Much appreciate it. Stop using the Bubonico. You guys need to leave. Where's the Nataruk? I mean, the Nataruk was brand new right at the end of the year. This doesn't, like, I mean, the Nataruk's probably going to be, like, it's going to be higher than you'd expect. Here, hold on. Yeah, it's 0.69%. That's going to go up. Yeah, it's too new to have a significant percentile. Boltor's doing okay. I mean, the Boltor's like a starter weapon that everyone gets. Okay, everybody stop using the Bubonico. Stay away. Do not look directly into the Bubonico or the Protea. And the Catchmoon's still up here. The Epitaph doing very well, which, I mean, it's a good weapon that's easy to get, so not bad. Cycron at 2.6. Man, see, here, you know what the problem is with this chart? Is they kind of can't nerf the Kuva Nucor without the Tenet Cycron just taking its place, like, wholesale. Why are they getting nerfed? With this kind of a play rate, I mean, it would be justifiable. But the problem is that you just immediately replace the Nucor with the Cycron. So they nerf both, and then you just immediately replace it with the Gaze. The heat mat stats are funny with the Nucor too. Oh boy. Oh, I went past it. Did I? Yeah, I did. Yeah, that does say 30 and 32 and 36. This says 32. There's a couple 30s back here. Literally just like the SpongeBob clip. Oh, reliable. Ooh. Okay, melee weapons. The Zorus being the top of this just makes sense. Because everyone is given the Zorus, and it's like the best new player weapon in the game, so that makes sense. And then the Broken War, everyone is given it, that makes sense. The Cronin Prime, definitely in like the running for being the best in the whole game, makes sense. It's also like Cronin Prime's been very easy to get, and it's up there. And then you got the Skia, everybody gets it for free. The Stropha, this is a little higher than I expected because people don't like to farm Protea, and it's like the same farm. Huandao, also really good melee. Blade Prime is what I would consider to be the best in the game. Makes sense. Paracesis, everybody's using it because, you know, you just get given the blueprint. Why not build it? Ikana Prime, also up there with just best in the game. Redeemer, best in the game. Skana, starter weapon. Orthos Prime, I wouldn't, I don't know. It's up there. It's pretty close to the top end. Sepfon, this is just an Icona Prime with a different name, basically. And then Reaper Prime, one of the best in the game. Mark 1 bow. This is the best weapon you can use before you get the Zorus. So, like, that just makes sense. An anonymous cheerer, thank you for the 2,700 bits. Fuck yeah. Much appreciate it. Yeah, Mark 1 bow out here doing it. Yeah, and then Grand Prime. People like their big swords. Makes sense. I think the Grand Prime statistically is the best big sword, so it makes a lot of sense that it's up here, even though their, you know, their stances got kind of nuked for Morbid. Yeah, this whole top end here, this makes a lot of sense. I wonder just PC what we're looking at here, though. Interesting. See, now this is what I thought would happen. The Zorus moves down a lot of spaces. So this is a thing that I've heard from a lot of console players, is they don't like to use the Zorus. Like, throwing it is a pain in the ass. Like, throwing it and making it blow up is a huge pain for them. That is a thing that I've heard from a lot of people who play on console. So this makes a ton of sense. Yeah, controller does not like to heavy attack. But probably the same for Xbox too. Like fourth. Source on PlayStation is Garbo. Really, I play on controller and it's fine. I just hear the complaint a lot. Wow. Damn. Apparently the Nintendo can you just like fucking whip that Joy-Con off and just be like, is that all you got to do in order to throw a Zorus? Jesus Christ. Damn. Yeah, the based Nintendo player. Throw the Joy-Con, throw the glaive. But yeah, I love having this data. It's so interesting. God, that... Damn. Damn. Man. Holy shit. You click PC and it goes to fucking 11 and a half. Fucking 11 and a half. What does that mean? Jesus Christ. That's so much. This page finally got me to invest in my Wukong. I do wonder if there's a bit of a knock-on effect with that. Where, like, last year everybody saw this and it's like Wukong. Everyone was like, what do you mean about Wukong? And then everyone found out about Wukong. Like, right? Like, that's like kind of almost what it feels like. Is that Wukong was at the top of the list, and like the people who weren't playing Wukong went, what do you mean? He isn't the most used on all the platforms? Oh, yeah, I mean, sure. Yeah. Nintendo is like the new player fucking whatever. This doesn't count. Everybody starts on Nintendo, plays Excalibur, then quits and goes and plays on like a real system. For playing Warframe anyway. Yeah, Switch players super fresh, and then they go play on something else later. But yeah. Christ on a bike. Well, I'm off to form my Wukong. I have a fresh, new, primed, sure-footed to put in his X list slot. Oh, God. But yeah, wow. All right. We're going to see about jumping into Dying Light 2. But, wow. Man, the numbers, Mason.